Morning students. Today we are going to start with a new lesson that's whom you are quite familiar with. That is about Albert Einstein, a truly beautiful mind. That's the title of the lesson. So there are few questions for you. That is, who do you think of when you hear the word genius? Who is a genius? What qualities do you think a genius has? That these questions answers you have to write in your English notebook as homework. The second question you don't have to write. The third one, 50 years after the Albert, that is about related to Albert Einstein. You don't have to write the second one. The first one you can write. That is, when you hear the word genius, who is a genius? What are the qualities do you think a genius has? That you have to write down. Let us begin the lesson. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879 in the German city of Ulm, without any indication that he was destined for greatness. On the contrary, his mother thought Albert was a freak. To her, his head seemed much too large. Albert Einstein was born on 14th March 1879 without any indication. Indication means sign. He was destined for greatness. Destined means predetermined. When he was born, nobody knew that he will become a very famous personality. On the contrary, on the opposite side, mother always thought Albert was a freak. Freak means very crazy boy. He is a crazy boy. Who thought about Albert Einstein? This his mother thought. Because his head was very large, too large. Generally in our place people used to say, no, if the child's head is so big, people used to say he is a very intelligent person. Freak is a word used disapprovingly to talk about a person who is unusual and does not behave, look or think like others. There is something different personality. For such people, which word is to be used? Freak used to be used. At the age of 2.5, Einstein still was not talking. When he reached 2.5 years old also, who did not begin talking? Albert Einstein did not begin talking. When he finally did learn to speak, he uttered everything twice. When he started speaking, he started saying everything 2 times. Einstein did not know what to do with other children, and his playmates called him Brother Boring. He doesn't know what to do with his friends. So that's why he has got another name. What was it? Brother Boring. So the youngster played by himself much of the time. So mostly he used to play alone. And he especially loved mechanical toys. Especially here means particularly he liked what type of toys? Not normal toys, but is mechanical toys. Looking at his newborn sister Maja, he is said to have said, "Fine, but where are her wheels?" So he considered everything very everything mechanical. So when he met his younger sister, he asked the first question, that is, where are her wheels? Wheels, you know, generally for the machines we use this wheels. So in between there is a paragraph. You just have a look in page number 46. Otto Neguber, the historian of ancient mathematics, told a story about the boy Einstein that he characterizes as a legend. But that seems fairly authentic. As he was a late talker, his parents were worried. At last, at the supper table one night, he broke his silence to say, "The soup is too hot." Greatly relieved, his parents asked why he had never said a word before. Albert replied, "Because up to now everything was in order." They say, so there is something very strange, isn't it? He was not even spoke one single word. Suddenly, during the supper, he said a sentence, isn't it? So what did he say? That everything was in order. It was not necessary for him to talk. Now, a headmaster once told his father that what Einstein chose as a profession wouldn't matter because he will never make a success at anything. See, one of his headmaster, what did he say? That he will never make a success at anything. He is not so good. That's what. Einstein began learning to play the violin at the age of 6. When he was 6 years old, he started playing learned violin because his mother wanted him to. He later became a gifted amateur violinist, maintaining this skill throughout his life. Actually, his mother forced him to learn violin, so he started learning violin. He became a gifted amateur violinist. What is an amateur one? Non-professional, we can say one word. Here you have the meaning. Amateur means doing something for personal enjoyment rather than as a profession. It's not considered as a profession. People used to learn so many things. That is called what? Amateur. But Albert Einstein was not a bad people. He went to high school in Munich, where Einstein's family had moved when he was 15 months old, and scored good marks in almost every subject. He was not a very bad student. What did he do? He went to high school and there he scored very good marks in all subjects. Einstein hated the school's regimentation. Regimentation means order or discipline taken to an extreme. Very disciplined school. That who did not like it? Einstein did not like it. And often clashed. Clash means fought with his teachers. He used to fight with his teachers. At the age of 15, Einstein felt so stifled there that he left the school for good. Stifled means unable to breathe, suffocated. He was so suffocated because of the discipline at the school. And what did he do? He just left the school. That was good. That's what the author had written. The previous year, Albert's parents had moved to Milan and left their son with relatives. His parents changed the place, isn't it? Where did they go? They migrated to Milan and he was staying with his relatives. After prolonged discussion, prolonged means extended discussion, Einstein got his wish to continue his education in German-speaking Switzerland in a city which was more liberal than Munich. Liberal means willing to understand and respect others' opinion. So he decided to stay back in where? In Switzerland. Where which language was spoken? It was German speaking Switzerland, where it was not so strict. So he decided to stay back in Switzerland for his further studies. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics and interest in physics, and after finishing the school, he decided to study at a university in Zurich. But science was not the only thing that appealed to the dashing young man with the walrus mustache. What is walrus? What is it? It's a mammal, isn't it? He has a mustache just like who? Just like walrus. Who has a mustache like walrus? Einstein has. What's the thing written in this paragraph? Einstein was very much interested in mathematics and very good also. He was very good in physics also. After he completing his school, he decided to study at the university. But there what happened was, his science was not only the subject. He has to study some other subject also. Who was not interested in it? Einstein was not interested in studying other subjects. Then what happened? Just have a look. He also felt a special interest in a fellow student, Mileva Maric. He was attracted by another student, that is called Mileva Maric, whom he found to be a clever creature. He started feeling that this student is very intelligent. This young Serb had come to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. Very few colleges, universities used to give whom? The women, the ladies, what? Degrees. That's why this lady joined this college. Einstein saw in her an ally. Ally means supporter or friend against the Philistines. Philistines is a word used in disapprovingly to talk about people who do not like art, literature or music. Understood? So Einstein saw whom is a very good Mileva, very good, against whom? Against the Philistines, those people in his family, and the university with whom he was constantly at odds, because even in his family members also, even in the university also, people are not at all interested in what? Literature or music. who is an exception? This girl was an exception. That's why he was attracted towards her. See then what happened? The couple fell in love. He fell in love. Letters survive in which they put their affection into words. They started writing, mixing science with tenderness. Wrote Einstein, how happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion. What did he write that? How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion. So he just wanted to convey what if she is also ready to join him in doing the work. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate and unemployed. In 1900, Albert Einstein became graduate and he was unemployed. He worked as a teaching assistant. He was not getting proper job, so he started working as a assistant teacher, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in patent office in Bern. What is patent? Patent is a document which gives the rights of an invention to an inventor. That means if I invent something, only I have the right to sell that particular product. Understood? That is called a patent. See, where did he get a job? He got a job in 1902 as a technical expert. He became a technical expert. Where? In a patent office in Bern. While he was supposed to be assessing other people's inventions. The people who invented new things, who used to assess? Einstein used to assess. That was his job. His job is to assess the people's new inventions. Einstein was actually developing his own ideas in secret. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at the work the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Actually, while he was doing his work, he was very much interested in what also? In physics. You remember, isn't it? So in his drawer, he filled with what? The theories, the papers related to the topic physics. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity. So do you remember, you all know what is relativity. If you have wanted to know more about relativity, you can ask your science teacher. How happy and proud. Once he had written a letter to his would-be. Do you remember? How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion. If he will be very happy if he and his fiancée would work about what? About related to the topic relativity. Clear? So same thing, that's why I just wanted to come back the same for this portion. What he has written? He has written, even though he was working as a technical expert in the patent office, there also, whenever he used to get time, he used to write related to the topic relativity. His drawer is to be filled with a lot of papers related to the physics topic. One of his famous paper of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Not absolute means not measured in itself, not in relation to anything else. It is not in relation to anything else. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. For example, they are written two clocks you take, very correct or very accurate clocks. They will not continue to show the same time if they come together after a journey. If one is coming from the other place, there must be, what happens? There must be a change in showing the time. For this followed the world's most famous formula which describes the relationship between mass and energy. That is another thing he learned, that is E is equal to mc square. This is a mathematical equation. E stands for energy, m for mass and c for the speed of the light in vacuum. When we sit in so it is Albert Einstein had written few lines. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That is relativity. Albert Einstein had given you an example also. So, about the theory of relativity, if you wanted to know more, you can ask your science teacher. Next, so he is very good. His theory of relativity was published in 1905 and that was become very famous also. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, he was very good at physics. He used to solve the problems in physics very easily. His private life was unraveling. His unraveling means starting to fail. He was very good in physics, but his life is very not so good. What happened? Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing his studies. After his studies, he wanted to get married to his friend, but his mother was against it. Who was not ready to for his marriage? Einstein's mother was not ready for his marriage. She thought Mileva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. Actually, the girl was elder to him. That is why his mother did not allow for the marriage. Excuse me. She was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. And this girl was also very intelligent. So the Einstein's mother compared his friend to a book. That's also one of the reasons she quoted not agreeing in his marriage. The pair finally married in January 1903. Anyway, they got married and had 2 sons. They had 2 sons, but a few years later, the marriage faltered. Faltered means it became very weak. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition, becoming an unhappy housewife. She is also was very ambitious. After becoming wife, she remained as a housewife and she lost every interest. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. They were separated. Einstein married his cousin Elsa in the same year, the second marriage. Einstein got married to his cousin. What was her name? Elsa. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to the world fame. Now new life, isn't it, with a new wife. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. In the gravity കാര്യത്തിൽ ഒരു പുതിയ ഇൻ്റർപ്രിട്ടേഷൻ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഈ പേപ്പർ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ. An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. Deflected എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ change direction because it hit something. Einstein had correctly calculated. നല്ല കറക്റ്റായിട്ടാണ് ഐൻസ്റ്റീൻ കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തത്. എന്താണ് കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തത്? In the extent to which light from fixed stars would be deflected through sun's gravitational field. എങ്ങനെയാണ് സ്റ്റാറിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്ന ലൈറ്റ് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ചേഞ്ച് ആവുന്നത്. എപ്പോഴാണ്? സണ്ണിൻ്റെ ഗ്രാവിറ്റേഷണൽ ഫീൽഡിലേക്ക് എത്തുമ്പോൾ. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution. ആരാ അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് കൂടുതൽ പറഞ്ഞത്? ന്യൂസ് പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഈ കണ്ടുപിടുത്തത്തിനെ കുറിച്ച് അനലൈസ് ചെയ്തു. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. In the year 1921, he received the Nobel Prize for Physics. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press. He received the Nobel Prize and people started appreciating him. He got a lot of invitations also from all over the world. He became very famous. When the Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, നാസിയുടെ പവറാണ് എവിടെ? നാസീസ് എവിടെ വന്നു? ജർമ്മനിയിൽ വന്നു. Einstein emigrated to United States. And 5 years later, when he was in United States, 5 years later, the discovery of a nuclear fission in Berlin and American physicists in an See, in 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had made American physicists in an uproar. Uproar means very upset. Who became very upset? The American physicists become very upset. Because of what? Because of the discovery of nuclear fission, where in Berlin. Many of them had fled from fascism, just as Einstein had. Now they were afraid of Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. Why were they afraid? Because they started thinking that these people will start using what? Atomic bomb. At the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to American president. So what he had written, one of his colleagues said that to write a letter to the American president. He had written a letter. Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd August 1939, in which he warned a single bomb of this type exploded in a fort might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territory. What was actually he had written? He just warned the president about the the destruction what can cause, the bomb can cause. He said that if any one of the bomb is exploded, what will happen? The whole port will be destroyed, and for that area, the surrounding territory also will be destroyed. His words did not fail to have an effect. The American developed the atomic bomb in secret project of their own and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. Even though his words did not fail to have an effect, did not fail means no effect at all. The Americans made the bomb and they had exploded where? In the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In which year? 1945. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of destruction. Who was so worried? Einstein was so worried, and this time he wrote a public missive. Missive means letter, especially long and official letter, that is called missive, to the United Nations. In it, he proposed the formation of a world government. So, what did he write about? He had written that we have to make a world government. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. So, this also made no change. But over the next decade, Einstein got ever more involved in politics. After what did he do? He involved in more in politics, agitating for an end to the arms buildup and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. So he was just publishing about what? Against the bomb destruction. He was so affected by the bomb dropping in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So rest of his life he started campaigning for what? Campaigning for peace and democracy. When Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, he was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius. When he died at the age of 76, people celebrated his name as a visionary and a world citizen and also as a scientific genius. He was termed as a scientific genius. I hope you understood. This is little scientific, but you know about Albert Einstein, so it is not so difficult. I hope you understand. Read the lesson. If you have any doubt, you can contact me. Thank you. Morning students. Next we are going to start the new poem, that is Rain on the Roof. Rain on the Roof is written by Coates Kinney. Coates Kinney is an American lawyer. Actually, he is a poet as well as he is a lawyer. He was a politician, he was a journalist, and he was actually this poem, that is the Rain on the Roof, was written when he was sitting in the hostel as a student, isn't it? So he was staying in the hostel and it was raining outside. When he hears the sound of the rain, he starts writing about the rain. That's the poem. Before starting the poem, I just wanted to remind you few things, that is few figures of speech we learned. That is, one is alliteration. What is alliteration? When if any consonant sound is repeatedly used in a line, then it is called alliteration. And what is personification? Personification is non-living things are given human quality, then it is called personification. Here in this poem, we have to learn a new FOS, that is called transferred epithet. What is transferred epithet? Epithet means the epithet is an adjective. Transferred epithet means an adjective is moved from the correct noun to another noun, one noun to another noun, then it is called transferred epithet. That means if I will say sleepless night, night is a noun. Actually, night doesn't have any sleeplessness, isn't it? Must be a human being. So, human being is sleepless. So, the now that adjective sleepless is shifted from a person to what? Night. Then it is called transferred epithet. Transferred epithet is shifting of an adjective from one noun to another noun. That is called transferred epithet. That's a new FOS we are learning in this poem. The next one is you already learned, that is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia means the sound, the word itself will give you an explanation. For example, the creaking door, the creaking sound of the door, isn't it? That is called the creaking sound. That word itself is self-explanatory. That means when you hear the sound, you can make out the meaning. You don't have to refer a dictionary. So, if any word is self-explanatory, then we call it as an onomatopoeia. Then that also onomatopoeia we learned in 8th standard. I don't know how many of you are remembering. So, these are the FOAs I have to discuss with you. Now, let us begin the lesson. Rain on the roof. When the sky is covered with dark clouds and it starts raining, have you ever listened to the patter of a soft rain on the roof? This is a question the author had written. I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel when you see the rain falling outside? Some of you must be feeling so happy, isn't it? When I was a child, I feel like going and playing in the rain. So, we people used to jump out of the house and used to have a bath in the rain. So, I literally used to enjoy the raining. What thoughts flash through your mind as you heard the melody of nature? When you hear the sound of the rain, what are the thoughts comes in your mind? That is what the poet is asking you. Now, read the poem to find out what the poet dreamed of while listening to the rain. Now, let us have start with the poem, and let us understand what the poet is actually feeling when he sees when he hears the sound of the rain. Here we go. When the humid shadows hover over all the starry spheres and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears, what a bliss to press the pillow of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter of the soft rain overhead. When the humid shadows hover, humid means humid is wet, you can say full of moisture. Hover means to stay in the air over all the starry spheres. So, when you can see the cloud is filled with a lot of humidity and it was in a starry day. Starry day means full of stars. And the melancholy darkness, melancholy means sadness, gently weeps in rainy tears. Gently weeps in rainy tears. Weeps means cries. What a bliss to press the pillow, bliss means happiness, of a cottage chamber bed and lie listening to the patter. Patter is the sound of the soft rain overhead. What's actually the poet is speaking? In the first stanza, the poet tells us that it is a pleasant to lie on the bed. In a cottage and listening to the pitter patter sound on a rainy night. When you hear the sound of the rain, it is very nice to sleep and in your bed. Actually, his mood would change in the happiness. He is saying that he was so depressed, he had lot of melancholy, sadness. But when he hears the sound of the rain, that sadness changes into happiness. That is what the poet wanted to tell you. Did you understand? I will repeat. The first stanza of the poem tells that it is pleasant to lie on the bed in a cottage and listening to the pitter patter sound on a rainy night. his mood would change into happiness. Understood? So, you see why the poet is sad, because of the here it is written melancholy darkness, because stars have hidden behind the clouds and became invisible. So, poet is sad due to the darkness. That way we cannot also understand. That's why it is written melancholy darkness. Why? The stars have hidden behind the clouds and become invisible, and poet is sad due to the darkness. Clear? Understood the first stanza? So, here the poet is saying that when we hear the music of the rain, what happens? His sadness is to be changed into happiness. Here let us see in the first line. First line, there it is, alliteration is used because the consonant sound H is repeatedly used, and in the next line S is repeatedly used, again it is alliteration, and in the third line there it is the transferred epithet. Melancholy darkness. Darkness is melancholy. Can you ഇരുട്ടിന് സങ്കടം എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റുമോ? ഇല്ല. അപ്പോൾ who was actually sad? The poet was sad. So here the poet, the adjective should be written for whom, it is should be written for the poet. That adjective is transferred, that epithet is an adjective. It is transferred from one noun to another noun. It is shifted to which noun here? Darkness. So here the FOS is transferred epithet. Clear? In the next line there is no FOS, and what a bliss to press the pillow. He is saying so happy to slide down in the bed. There it is P is repeatedly used, so it is alliteration. Of a cottage chamber bed, C is repeatedly used, again alliteration. Lie listening to the patter, there T is repeatedly used and L is repeatedly used, so it is alliteration. Of the rain overhead, of the soft rain overhead, there the vowel sound O is repeatedly used, so the FOS assonance. Here of in the O, and overhead, there also O is repeatedly used, so the FOS is assonance. I hope you understand the first stanza. Here you can have a look at the rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B, D, E and F, E. Rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B, D, E and F, E. First stanza, that is the rhyme scheme used. Here you can also see gently weeps in rainy tears. So the clouds are weeping. So here we can say personified, which is used, the personification is used. Next stanza, every tingle on the shingles, every tingle on the shingles has an echo in the heart, and a thousand dreamy fancies into the busy being start, and 1,000 recollections weave their air threads into oof as I listen to the patter of the rain upon the roof. Every tingle on the shingles. What is a tingle means? A sound, you can say a light clear ringing sound, that is called tingle. Here first stanza you see the patter. Patter is what? Patter sound is the falling of the rain, that makes the sound. That is there it is onomatopoeia is used. So you can use the right there onomatopoeia. Every tingle on the shingles has an echo in the heart. So in the second stanza, the tingle of the rain, the sound of the rain brings a dreamy fancies with bright hues of recollection. ഈ ശബ്ദം കേൾക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് നല്ല നല്ല സ്വപ്നങ്ങൾ അല്ലേ, നല്ല നല്ല ഓർമ്മകളാണ് ആരുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിലേക്ക് വരുന്നത്? ദ പോയറ്റിൻ്റെ ഹൃദയത്തിലേക്ക് വരുന്നത്. Every tingle on the shingles. Shingle means rectangular wooden tiles used on roofs. Clear? Has an echo in the heart. So the sound when the rain falls on the roof of the house, it makes a sound that echoes in whose heart? That echoes in the poet's heart. And 1,000 dreamy fancies. What is fancies means? Imagination. Dreamy fancies into busy being start. So it start coming. 1,000 dreamy fancies start entering into whose heart? Entering into the poet's heart. When he hears the sound of the rain. Did you understand? And 1,000 recollections. Recollections means memories. Weave their air threads into woof. Woof means thread that run and groom side to side on a loom or in a woven fabric. You must have seen in the നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ നെയ്ത്ത് ശാലയിൽ എങ്ങനെയാണ് നൂല് പോകുന്നത്? ഒരു സൈഡിലേക്ക് കൈ കൊണ്ടടിക്കും, വേറൊരു സൈഡിലേക്ക് മൂവ് ചെയ്യും അല്ലേ? അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ നൂല് പോകുന്നത് പോലെ അതുപോലെ ആണ് മെമ്മറീസ് ആരുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിലേക്ക് വന്നത്? നമ്മുടെ പോയറ്റിൻ്റെ ഹൃദയത്തിലേക്ക് വന്നത്. ആൻഡ് ഐ ലിസൺ ടു ദ പാറ്റർ ഓഫ് ദ റെയിൻ അപ്പോൺ ദ റൂഫ്. അതിൻ്റെ സമ്മറി. ഇൻ ദ സെക്കൻഡ് ദ ടിങ്കിൾ ഓഫ് ദ റെയിൻ ബ്രിങ്സ്. Second stanza, the tinkle of the rain brings dreamy fancies with bright hues of recollection. Brings dreamy fancies in a colorful ആയിട്ടുള്ള recollection ആയിട്ട് ആരുടെ മനസ്സിലേക്ക് മെമ്മറീസ് വരുമായിരുന്നു? പോയറ്റിൻ്റെ മനസ്സിലേക്ക്. His memories are not connected with one another and he come to his mind in a jumbled form. It is not in a connected form. It is coming, it is weaving. It is like a jumbled form it comes. In whose mind? The memories comes in a jumbled form in the mind of the poet. When the memories comes into the mind of the poet, when he hears the sound of the rain. I hope you understood. The sound falling on the tails echoes in the poet's heart. 1,000 imaginations originate in his heart. ഈ മേളിൽ കൂരയിലിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന റൂഫിലിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ടൈൽസിൻ്റെ പുറത്ത് വെള്ളം വീഴുമ്പോൾ 1,000കണക്കിനുള്ള ഇമാജിനേഷൻസ് ആരുടെ ഹൃദയത്തിൽ ഉണ്ടാകുമായിരുന്നു? പോയറ്റിൻ്റെ ഹാർട്ടിൽ ഉണ്ടാകുമായിരുന്നു. ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട്സ് ക്രിയേറ്റിംഗ് എ വീവിങ് ഓഫ് ഹെയർ ത്രെഡ്സ്. നമ്മുടെ നൂല് കൊണ്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണോ ക്ലോത്ത് വീവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അതുപോലെ ആയിരുന്നു അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ മനസ്സിൽ നടക്കുന്നത്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് കമ്മിങ് ഇൻ ദ in a proper order. It was coming into his mind in a jumbled form. I hope you understood. So now let's see the FOS used in the first line. Every tinkle on the shingles. Here there is no FOS. Second line you can say it has an echo in the heart. It has a heart. There it is repeatedly used, so it is alliteration. And 1,000 dreamy fancies. There it is transferred epithet. Why is it transferred epithet? Because here dreamy fancies. Dreamy, that is an adjective. Who is actually he in the dreams? The poet. Here this adjective is used just before the noun fancies. Here also transferred epithet. Into being, busy being, start. There it is alliteration because the consonant sound B is repeatedly used. In the next line, and 1,000 recollections, and A. So there it is assonance. Weave their air threads into the oof. There it is alliteration because the sound W is repeatedly used. As I listen to the patter, there again it is alliteration of the rain upon the roof. Again it is alliteration. So a lot of alliteration is used throughout the poem. The last stanza, now in memory comes my mother, as she used in years agone. Agone means bygone. To regard the darling dreamers. Darling dreamers. Darling dreamers. Means before. She left them till the dawn. Oh, I feel her fond look. Fond look means ideal look on me. And I list this refrain. List means here listen. This is an old poetic word for listen. List is not the correct word. You have to write there it is listen. Listen. Which is played upon the shingles by the patch of the rain. Here refrain is generally we say if any line in a poetry is repeatedly used we say refrain, but here the sound of the rain is called what? Refrain. Here the refrain is used for who? What? Here the sound of the rain is refrain. Clear? Now in a third stanza, what is the poet saying? The fondest memory of the mother is stirred before him in all her loveliness. When he heard the sound of the rain, what comes into his mind? The fondest memory of his mother is stirred before him in all her gentle loveliness by the pattern of rain. Because she always regard the darling dreamers. She used in years agone to regard the darling dreamers ere she left them till the dawn. She used to allow him and his sibling to sleep throughout the day because they used to get up very late during the rainy season. So when he hears the sound of the rain, he used to remember his mother who is not asking them to get up early during the rainy season. Oh, I feel her fond look on me, and listen to this refrain which is played upon the shingles by the patch of the rain. So he was sitting in the hostel and recollecting all these things. What are the memories coming? Now he is remembering about his mother, how his look, his loving look, and how he used to behave. He never disturbed him and his siblings when they were sleeping during the rainy day. All these nice memories were coming into whose mind? Into the mind of the poet. Now once again, now in memory comes my mother, as she used in years agone to regard the darling dreamers. Here the darling dreamers are poet and his siblings. Means before. She left them till the dawn. So she used to ask them to let them, allow them to sleep till the late morning during the rainy season. Oh, I feel her fond look, her ideal look, her loving look on me. As I listen to this refrain, as I listen to this sound of music, I used to still remember how lovingly she used to, my mother used to look at me, which is played upon the shingles by the patter of the rain, which is played upon the shingles. Shingles is the tiles, ഓടിൻ്റെ പുറത്ത് വെള്ളം വീഴുമ്പോൾ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ശബ്ദം, by the patter of the rain. So last line it is onomatopoeia, pattering sound, that is onomatopoeia. So now see in the first line, now in the memory comes my mother. There the consonant letter M is repeatedly used, so it is alliteration. In the second line, it is assonance because A is repeatedly used. In the third line again alliteration because the D is repeatedly used. And in the fourth line, T is repeatedly used, so it is again alliteration. Next, oh, I feel her fond look on me. Oh, there it is assonance. As I listen to this refrain, there again it is alliteration. Now, which is played upon the shingles. Then there is no FOS. Last, by the patter of the rain. There I said that alliteration is there. Patter sound is used, so it is onomatopoeia. I hope you understood the poem. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. Thank you.